Real Exam English, Season 2, Episode 9, Communications. Hello and welcome to Real Exam English. Today's episode is all about communications. The way we communicate has changed significantly with the advent of technology, and it's a subject that's quite common in English exams. It's also a subject that has a lot of specific phrasal verbs, and you're going to hear loads of them today. All of the questions today and every day are from previous English exams, so it's fascinating to see how native English speakers answer them. We have speakers from the USA, England, Scotland, Australia and Ireland today, so it's great to get these different perspectives from around the globe. Okay then, let's go with the questions. How do you keep in touch with friends who don't live near you?
It's become harder and harder as time has gone on, primarily just because of how busy, I am with work and my family. I have less time to reach out and make phone calls to friends just because I don't have that much time to myself as far as, having an hour to spend, on a phone call when I could be spending an hour doing something else around the house. So it's been harder. I do still try, text messages, connecting on social media.
Here we have our first few types of communicating: phone calls, text messages, and social media. We also have our first phrasal verb relating to communicating, which was to reach out to someone, which means to try to communicate with someone. How often do you meet friends for a chat?
I think I do this a lot less than I would like to. But I'm really trying harder to do that on a more regular basis. So I have some really good friends that I might only see once every couple of months. And I would like to see them much more regularly. So I'm trying to do that. For example, recently I started going to the gym with a friend of mine twice a week. And these little short catch-ups, we only go for like half an hour, 40 minutes. But it means that I'm keeping in touch with her and just generally having a chat. And it's so helpful for me. And I really want to be able to do that more with more friends. But I think because of COVID, it's been so scary to catch up with friends, and I'm dreadful at getting in touch with people anyway. But maybe that should be my New Year's resolution.
Here's our next batch of phrasal verbs. We had to catch up with someone, which we had in a previous episode, and means to meet with a friend that you haven't seen in a while. We had the verb here, to catch up, and we heard the noun also, to have a catch up. Then we heard to get in touch with someone and to keep in touch with someone. Very similar, really. To get in touch means to make contact with someone, and to keep in touch means to maintain that contact. Do you prefer to text people or phone them?
Text them. Always text them. I generally get slightly confused when my phone starts ringing. I'm like, what? Like I've forgotten the original purpose of a telephone. I'm fairly capable of expressing myself through text, so I feel like I can get all of the point across that I need to. I can say a lot of things at once without being cut off or getting delayed by conversational nonsense and fun. Also, you can send memes to each other and stuff like that. It's a very three-dimensional way to communicate, and I appreciate it.
The phrasal verbs this time are to get across and to be cut off. So to get something across means to convey a message to someone. For instance, the government is trying to get the message across to the public that it's important to wear face masks. Then to be cut off or to get cut off is when you are on the phone speaking to someone and you lose connection with them for some reason. Are you someone who enjoys talking?
Absolutely. I love talking. I was nicknamed Miss Blah 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 by an old history teacher. Although I love talking and I love socializing, and that's what I'm really missing during this pandemic, I'm also someone who does need alone time. I'm an only child. I've lived by myself now for 8 years, and I really enjoy my personal space. So I love talking, but at the same time, I love my own peace and quiet.
We had a nice simple way to agree here at the start. That was absolutely. You could also say definitely, totally, exactly, or for sure. Much better than just saying yes. Also, we heard a good use of the connector although. Although I love socializing, I also need time alone. Remember to practice using connectors like although, despite, and in spite of. They're excellent to use in your speaking and writing, and also appear quite frequently in the use of English if you were doing a Cambridge exam. For transcripts of the podcast, please go to the Real Exam English website. That's realexamenglish.com. As well as the transcripts, you can find information there about online classes, whether you were looking for exam preparation classes in groups or individual classes, for exam prep, general revision, business English, or just conversational English, then check out the website for more information, realexamenglish.com. Do you prefer to text people or to phone them?
Text. Absolutely. If somebody calls me and I look at my phone, I'm just rolling my eyes like, why? Why are you calling me?
Yeah, okay. And why is a text better?
I'm like an introverted, shy person. So it's like, if you're going to call me, you at least give me a warning. Like my sister FaceTimed me the other day and I'm like, what is she doing? Right. So I answer and I'm like, hello. And she's like, oh, I just wanted to say hi. Okay, hi. Now what? You know, and it's just so weird. It's awkward for me, like conversations on the phone. But when I actually get on the phone, I'm fine. But it's just, I get nervous. I don't know why.
Okay, so we hear absolutely here again. That's what all the native speakers are using, guys. We had plenty of adjectives here too. Introverted and shy, which are words for someone who likes to spend time alone and doesn't enjoy mixing with others. Then we heard weird, which is like strange. We had awkward, which kind of means embarrassed or nervous in this context. We also had fine and nervous. So a wide range of adjectives there to impress an examiner. How often do you meet with friends for a chat?
Obviously, given lockdowns and stuff, not as often as I would like, but I've got a group of friends who are maybe 6 to 8 deep that are really close friends. Some of them I see maybe once a year. Some of them I don't see for weeks on end, and some I speak to every single day. I think it's really different. I think for everyone, it depends on your relationship, workload, family time, and all that kind of stuff. But I would like to speak to my friends a whole lot often. It's a lot easier just now with current situations and lockdowns and stuff, and Zoom and Teams and all that kind of stuff being available. But yeah, it's definitely, how often do I meet? Not enough is what I have to say. Ideally, at least once a week.
So this speaker might not see his friends for weeks on end. This means without interruption or continuously. For example, the teenager played Fortnite for hours on end, much to his father's dismay. He started off his answer saying, given lockdown, not as often as I'd like. So given in this context means considering. It's a nice structure to use, like, given that it's going to be raining tomorrow, I don't think we should have the barbecue. How do you keep in touch with friends who don't live near you?
Well, I suppose there's lots of different ways, actually. I mean, sometimes I'll go and visit them. Invariably, I will talk to them via social media, or I'll pick up a phone and call them, or they'll call me. Send them emails. It's in lots of different ways. I mean, definitely we use social media because it's very, very useful, and emails and things like that. So yeah, it really does depend. And sometimes, if they live very, very far away and the time zones are quite different, then sometimes it's just nice to arrange a visit, go travel and see them and actually spend some proper time catching up. But usually it's by phone, be it WhatsApp, be it a phone call or a text message.
Do you like sharing photos with people you know?
Sometimes. It depends on the photos and it depends on who I know. I mean, I think photos are great and they are great to share, but there are a lot of not so great photos that have been taken that people sort of share, and I think our culture generally is set up so that people just share sometimes without asking if it's okay. And I think there are times when it's better to get a person's permission before you decide to share it with the world. But as a general principle, yes, I do like sharing photos.
How do you keep up with the latest world news?
I tend to essentially search different engines. So, for example, I'll go onto Google and I'll look up news sites. So the BBC News is quite good for sort of stuff like that. But then I'll also look at The Economist, and there's basically various publications I tend to look at. And it depends on sort of what I'm interested in. I'm not a big fan of Yahoo or Bing as search engines for media, because they sort of, to my mind, they tend to use quite sort of tabloid-esque celebrity type news things, and I'm generally I'm not really interested in that. So I look at newspapers like The Independent online, or The Guardian, or sort of BBC News, and sometimes I'll even listen to Al Jazeera or France 24. And I also look at a number of Dutch newspapers, because I find that their kind of world news is pretty good from a sort of European perspective. And then if I'm interested in sort of a slightly different take on things, then I'll use the World Service, or I'll look at sort of either Asian or African newspapers, because it always gives a slightly different perspective. And similarly, if you look at sort of CNN or Fox News, depending on your preference. So for me, it's CNN. That kind of gives an American-centric version of world events. And that's how I tend to do it.
Wow, a really wide range of media there. We've spoken before about the importance of topic-relevant vocabulary, and here we heard about search engines, newspapers, tabloid-esque celebrity news and publications. Then the speaker spoke about getting a different perspective on things, and rather than repeating the same phrase, she said that she wanted to get a different take on things, which is basically the same meaning as a different perspective or a different way of interpreting the same information. The last thing to point out is yet another great way to give an opinion, and that was "to my mind." So you could say, "To my mind, the best English language podcast is Real Exam English." Okay guys, that's about all for today. Make sure to make a note of all of the phrasal verbs that you heard today. It's a good idea to make a list of all of the new phrasal verbs that you come across, and you'll notice that the same ones keep coming up again and again. You'll hear them in the listening parts of exams, in the readings, and also even in the speaking questions themselves. And of course, you'll come across them in the use of English if you're doing a Cambridge exam. So yeah, make a list for yourself on your computer or on your paper and try to put them into practice in your speaking or writing exams. And since today's episode is about communications, why not get in touch with me on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, and let me know what you think of this episode, and if you have any tips or requests for future episodes. And thanks a million for listening today. All the best. Trevor.